When Mark Delaney, a semi-retired contractor from Pine Hollow, Montana, received a call from the county recorder's office, he thought it was a joke. The clerk cheerfully congratulated him on his new luxury cabins, but Mark was baffled. He quickly discovered that 5 stunning cabins, worth $2.4 million, had been built on his 16-acre lakeside property without his consent. Mark had bought the land 3 years earlier with the dream of having his own piece of paradise. It came with towering pines, a serene lakeshore, and most importantly, no HOA restrictions, or so he thought. Mark's land bordered the Pine Hollow Shores development, and its HOA president, Karen, had other plans. Karen, an overbearing HOA leader, felt Mark's property was wasted potential that hurt neighborhood property values. For months, Karen had tried to buy part of Mark's land for a luxury cabin project, offering him generous sums. When he refused, she escalated, showing up with architectural plans and glossy brochures. Mark repeatedly said no, but when he left for a 3-month trip to Arizona, Karen saw an opportunity. Upon his return, Mark found 5 cabins built on his property. Karen claimed it was a legitimate community investment, reassuring Mark that all the paperwork was handled. But Mark wasn't convinced. He contacted his attorney, Patricia Brennan, who quickly uncovered the scheme. Karen had convinced the HOA board that they had acquired Mark's land through something called adverse possession, a completely false claim since Mark had owned the property for less than 5 years and had never given the HOA permission to use it. Karen used HOA funds $800,000 to hire a construction company, Mountain Dreams Builders, and had even begun accepting rental deposits for the cabins, which she had falsely claimed were owned by the HOA. Patricia researched Montana property law and explained that any structure built on land without the owner's permission automatically becomes the property of the landowner. Karen's actions had essentially gifted Mark 5 luxury cabins, each worth nearly $500,000. Patricia sent a letter to Karen and the HOA board, informing them that the cabins were now Mark's property. She gave them 2 options: purchase the cabins and land for $3.5 million or vacate and forfeit the cabins while owing Mark damages for land restoration. Karen's response came swiftly, but not from a lawyer. She called Mark furious. The HOA then held an emergency meeting where homeowners learned Fiona had used their dues to build the cabins on land she didn't own. Mark, capitalizing on the mistake, began renting out the cabins, now known as Serendipity Shores. The cabins became a sensation, with guests booking stays to see the infamous cabins built by an HOA. Karen's legal problems mounted. The state charged her with fraud, criminal trespass, and misuse of HOA funds. She eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 18 months in prison and ordered to pay $1.2 million in restitution. Mark's new venture was thriving and his dream had become a reality.